Do you have a business that serves your local community? Are you trying to take your business to the next level? Do you struggle to understand your business numbers? Well, stop working harder thinking you're going to make more money. That's not how it works. Each week, we go over how to understand and leverage your business numbers to not only create more sales, but more importantly, how to create more profits. Remember, it isn't about how much you sell. It's about how much you keep at the end of the day. My name is Tammy, and I'm on a mission to help badass business owners like yourself put more money in your pocket. So whether you're a badass or a badass in the making, let's get this party started. Hey, badass business owners, welcome back to the show. Today, I want to talk about something that none of us ever have enough of, and that is time. I don't know about you, but I often wish there was a time stretcher and that we could gain more time in the day. And then I sometimes go, wow, it'd be neat if we had more hours in the day. No, absolutely not. Because you know what would happen? We'd fill it up. Honestly, if we had 2 extra hours, we would fill it up with more work, or we would spread it out, and we would not get done any more than what we have. And we have to figure out how to use the time we have smart and efficiently. And this is not something that I am necessarily a pro of. I feel that I was trained, if you will, I was groomed with some really bad habit because I used to be a salaried employee. And when you're a salaried employee, it's very similar to being a small business owner where you don't clock in and clock out. When you don't clock in and you don't clock out and you kind of just work the hours, you kind of get, you don't necessarily always stay on track. And you just feel that, hey, I can just keep working. If I don't get to it today, I can keep working, or I can work longer hours. Or, you know what, you put other people's needs, you stop and you start. You know, for example, I'm always working late. Part of the reason I'm working late is I spent most of the day talking to people who go, do you got a minute? Do you got a minute? Do you got a minute? Or other people consuming my time. Or maybe I go down a rabbit hole on a task that I was trying to figure out how to do. So for example, sometimes we do things that we probably shouldn't do. We should farm out to somebody else, or we try to learn a new skill and next thing we know, we look up, it's 2 to 3 hours later. Or maybe we are on social media, or for example, right now I have been doing a lot of studying on YouTube for some different projects I want to create for you guys for some training. And I've been studying some of these experts, so-called experts, right? And next thing I know, I've watched tons of videos, fast forwarding, moving them through to other things. There's a lot of things that pull at our time, not to mention family, not to mention kids. I guess they are family, aren't they? You know what? We got other people that want us to be fully present in the moment. So time is just one of those things that are just so, it's so limiting, if you will, on one hand. But the problem is, have you ever noticed that and maybe you've got the same problem I do. I have this weird quirk and it's really weird. If you tell me I've only got X amount of time to get something done, I go into hyper gear. I get so much done. Like when I'm behind and I'm just like run. I managed to get to the end of the day going, oh my God, I can't believe I accomplished everything that I accomplished today. It was just a crazy day and I got all of this crap done. Yes, I was that person who, if I had a book report or something that was due and I had weeks to get it done, yeah, I was the one that waited until the last minute to get it done. I did my best work when I wait till the last minute. It's just a weird thing that I do. And maybe some of you are the same way. But here's the thing. You ever have those days where your customers, your clients, whoever, nobody's on you, no one's pushing you and pressuring you, so you have all day to get caught up, and yet you feel like at the end of the day you got nothing done, you didn't catch up, you didn't get near as much as you did, and you were easily distracted. Isn't that just so screwed up? I think that is so screwed up that when I have the time to make big leaps in getting caught up, that I actually don't. And part of that is because of the way that I'm wired, as far as, I've got to be very specific as far as this is what needs to get done. So that pressure is on for me to be able to get more done. Now, for some of you, you're the complete opposite. You are complete box checkers. You are very organized. You are very, it goes on a list and you check off those boxes and you make sure that it gets done. Every single one of us is a little bit different. And this is why I want to bring up something, because we always hear about time management. You need to figure out time management. And if you would just do this, you would have better time management. And, I went through all kinds of time management courses and classes and whatnot with different people, but none of them would stick. It's the same thing when people tell you that you should do a daily journal about what it is that you're going to get done today. And then at the end of the night say, well, this is what you got done. Some people create some amazing magic out of that, and it really works for them. And then there's other people that it doesn't work at all. Some people will teach you that you need to do time blocking, and you need to set aside 2-hour chunks inside of your calendar that says this is what I'm going to work on. That if you wait until you have time to work on the business, you're never going to do it. You got to schedule it. I agree with this, by the way. Regardless of your style, this one does help and does work because you treat it like a customer. Okay? If you time block and you treat it like an actual customer and don't dismiss it, it can be very successful for you. And we'll probably talk about that a little bit more. But the main thing that what you're doing is you've got to commit to it. The reason I want to hit one point up first. First off, you're not a failure if you've never been able to make any kind of time management thing work. It's just our brains are wired differently and how we move forward. Some people have the little timer thing where you work for 40, 50 minutes and then you take a break for 10 and then you get right back to work. Some people, that is absolutely horrible because you will never get back to work. If you got to be in that zone, and when you're in that zone, you're creating magic and you're getting things done. Every single one of us, let's go ahead and rip this Band-Aid off and let's address the elephant in the room. Time management, different techniques do not work for everyone. There is no universal, if I just learn this method, I'm going to be amazing. No, it doesn't work like that. But I will tell you that there are techniques out there that when you use them, or you use versions of them, or you play with a bunch of them until you find the one that does work for your brain, you will find better time management habits. And that's what you really want to work on when it comes to time management. You want to make sure that you try different things and you start paying attention to when you are most productive. And when you find that you are most productive, what exactly happened? Was it something that waited to the last minute? Was it something that was scheduled? Was it something, but you got to try it. Okay. And by the way, habits are another thing. You don't learn a habit overnight. If that was the case, we'd all be, physically fit and running down the all over the place because we would have great habits that we've created for ourselves, eating our broccoli and everything else, whatever the case may be. All right. But the reality is we're all wired a little bit differently, and we all have bad habits, and we all have things that we need to tweak. So what I want you to do is I want you to start paying attention to what does work for you. Now, I want to go back to that time blocking thing for a minute. And the way time blocking works is, let's just say that you want your business to run from 7 in the morning but you want to be done by 6 o'clock at night. But what you're finding is you're going to 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. What you have to do is you have to say, these are the hours that I'm going to run the business, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get the business done within those hours. Now, here's the thing. It's not about, you got to ask yourself, what's causing you to run over? Are you running over because you're running back and forth, left and right, job hopping over, you're running out to one city, coming all the way back to one city, then going right back out to that same city? Are you doing stupid stuff like that? Are you not organized in the morning when you take off and you find yourself having to go back and forth from job site to someplace else to get more materials or whatever the case may be? Are you talking too much? Like you get to the house and you're yip-yapping with the client for 15, 20 minutes before you even start. In which case, by the way, you're leaving money on the table because that's what's causing you to be longer. You need to first identify what it is that is putting you so far behind. What is eating up your time? You might find that out of these 10, 12-hour days that you are doing certain things and eating up 1 or 2 hours of that, which is one of the reasons why you need to just block that time and say, I'm going to get done by this time. It's going to keep you on task and keep you done. And if you don't believe me, I want you to think about something. Think about the last time you went on vacation or you took a weekend off. I'll bet you had some of your most productive days being the day before and the several days before, because you had a hard deadline you gave yourself. You knew that you could not work on those 3 days, or you had to create some process or system or something to be going on while you were gone. In which case, you didn't block stuff no matter who had called you, because you just knew you weren't going to be there. So you can schedule time to work on your business and not suck it up with a customer, because you've done it before when you've tried to take time off. You have to treat certain hours as that's the time you're working on the business. You can protect that. That's why I like the whole time blocking thing. And if you move it, let's just say you absolutely have to do Mrs. Smith at 3 o'clock and 3 o'clock is your normal time, then you slide your time block to work on the business into another customer time slot and then give Mrs. Smith that one. So it never goes away. You don't delete it. You just move it and you shift it. I think that you're going to find that if you start using your Google Calendar or whatever calendar you use to really just start putting boundaries on yourself, you're going to do much better. Like I said, when we go on vacation or take time off, all of a sudden we're geniuses at time management. We manage to get everything done. And part of that is just the way that we're wired. We can make it work. We've got to stop having this fallacy to ourselves that we can work as many hours as we need to work. If you're working 60, 70, 80, 90 hours, you're putting it upon yourself. It might be that you're hungry and you need as many jobs as you can so you're making money. So you're in a season of your business where you're having to work tons of hours. Okay, fine. But then find those inefficiencies. Find those times when you're doing stuff you shouldn't be doing. And maybe that's when you start looking for help, no matter how little it is, to help you out with those tasks. For example, if you're spending tons of time on the phone trying to resolve issues, you have to ask yourself, why are these issues popping up and how do you get rid of those issues? It's not necessarily you need someone to answer your phone, although you probably do. But on the other hand, if they're calling about the same problems over and over and over, you have a systems problem somewhere that you need to address. Which brings us to another thing. Part of your time management problem is you don't have checks and balances in place. You don't have systems in place. And when you're flying by your seat of your pants every single day and you don't have systems that you follow, you're going to continue to waste time, more and more time as they go on. Listen, I could talk about this for a long time just because I know it's one of the biggest things that we have going on, that if we were more efficient, we probably beat ourselves up. Let's face it, we probably beat ourselves up about being inefficient more than anything else that's out there. And you've got to stop beating yourself up. What you need to do is you need to start paying attention to what it is you are doing with your time and how can you to be more efficient at it. And like I said, try different methods. I'm not telling you don't study different ways of time management, but just find the one that resonates with you and stick with it. But I will tell you that the one that almost all of us can do is to look for the inefficiencies in our business and start plugging them up. Start doing some of that time blocking that we can. Let's treat our time as if it's special and not look for times when we're wasting energy. And if you find yourself stuck in one of those days where you finally have a break in or you finally have a breather and you want to get a lot of stuff done, be realistic on yourself. One of the things that I find happens is the reason that you don't get as much done on the days that you have a little bit more time available to you is, one, you've been running and gunning so long, you're just tired and you just don't have the energy. But a big part of why you don't is because you don't have that sense of urgency on your butt to get certain things done. And that's where the time blocking can come in, because then you can treat it just like that and be able to accomplish and get more done. Also listen to your inner thoughts, the way your body works. Some people, they can get up at the crack of dawn, and some before, and they can be the most productive people in the world. And then there's other people that are total night owls, and that's when they get productive. Start paying attention to your body and when you are most productive. If you start paying attention and looking for it, and maybe you go, dang, that was an amazing couple hours. I got so much done. Make a note of the time of day that it is and see if that happens to be your sweet spot. For some people, that sweet spot is, between 5 and 7 a.m. in the morning. Some people, it might be 10 to noon. Some people, it's right after lunch. They seem to just go at it. Some people, it's late at night. everybody's different. And that's another one of the points that I hope you've gotten from this is that one size does not fit all when it comes to time management. You have to be the best expert at you and what works. And you need to look towards other people to find ways of doing it, to building a better mousetrap. Because because you're different, you can't just say, well, you don't understand, I'm not a morning person. Okay, I do understand you're not a morning person. Then find out, what do famous night owls, what do they do? What habits do they have that help them be successful? So I'm just saying, take some of your quirks and figure out how do you make it work for you. Now, there's a difference between someone who wants to get up at 6 o'clock and someone who says, hey, for the next couple months, I'm going to get up at 5 o'clock. That is totally doable for all of us. If you tend to go to bed at 11 o'clock, midnight, every single night, there's nothing wrong with saying that you're going to go to bed an hour earlier. Are you going to take someone who goes to bed at midnight and try to put them in bed at 8 o'clock? Absolutely not. But if somebody's a midnight owl and they go to bed at 11 so they can try to get up 1 hour earlier than what they do, that's absolutely doable. You got to stay within your wheelhouse, and you got to stay within what your natural tendencies are. Now, maybe through time you can completely change it. Some people have done that. It's interesting. For example, I would love to be able to stay up. I love, I'm a lot of brain power. I can start thinking and I have all these thoughts right before I go to bed. But what's interesting is, because of all the weird schedules that I've had through the years, I absolutely wake up really early in the morning, whether I want to or not. It's just the way that I've been programmed to do that. That doesn't necessarily mean that the very first thing is getting something done, but when I feed my brain and I start going, then all my ideas start cracking open and whatnot. So like my brain ideas are great early in the morning, but my actually working on them and accomplishing them is later in the morning. So like I said, you got to figure out yourself. You got to know how it is that you work. So my whole point of this entire episode is time management. And this, one of the reasons why you might be failing is you've got to really start listening to yourself and finding those things that work with you. Now, did I give you anything specific today that every single one of you can go do? No, but hopefully there was an idea, a nugget, something in here that each of you can take away and just make your time management just a little bit better. If I was to say the one thing that I have found that universally works well with most people, it is the time blocking. Because if you treat it like a customer, I guess, so maybe time blocking is the wrong word for some of you guys. And if you've got to hang up on the word time blocking, think of it this way: schedule yourself as a customer, schedule yourself as a client, and dedicate yourself to you, that customer, that client, to that same degree that you would one of your other customers or clients or one of your other jobs, and actually work in your business and work on those systems to help make you more efficient in your business, which is going to continue to give you more time. Sorry, you don't want more time in your life. The way you're going to get it is to claim back the time you keep giving to other things and to other people and to just wasted time. That's how you're going to gain back more time. We don't want longer days. Trust me, we don't want 25, 26, 27-hour days. We're just going to fill it up with work. And that's not the right way either. We need to become more efficient with the time that we do have. And then we need to work on how do we get better clients? How do we do better pricing? How do we create more profit in that time frame? So it all starts with time and how we use that time. And I just want to challenge each and every one of you to start paying attention and start figuring out how it is that you function and what are some tools and tricks out there that will work for your particular situation. And like I said, do not get hung up if someone's time management ways don't work for you. It's just the way you're wired. And don't try to shove that square peg into that round hole. If it's not you and it doesn't feel right, then move on. I'm not saying don't try it, but if you've tried it and you've given it a really honest try and it's still not resonating with you, it's just your style and that style just don't work out. There is a way for you to become more efficient at your time. And I'm telling you, between a version of time blocking / treating yourself like a client and the fact that if you work on those processes, you're going to gain back the most time that you could possibly gain. All right, with that, I am done rattling about time. Because guess what? I'm out of time. Okay, that may be not as funny as I thought it was. All right, with that, I'm really going to get out of here. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Talk to you on the next episode. Bye for now. Hey, badass business owners, before you go, I know sometimes learning your business numbers on audio can be a little difficult. So don't forget to also subscribe to the YouTube channel, Training for Local Small Business Owners, where each week I try to put out different videos that help you understand these business concepts and understanding your business numbers, because sometimes visually can help you understand the concept and make it a little bit easier. Plus, I break them down into smaller chunks, so this way it's easier for you to understand. So once again, don't forget, head on over to YouTube, Training for Local Small Business Owners. Check the show notes. There's also a link there. Now get out there and kick some ass.